This is the inside of the Benimar Mileo 323. If I firstly move to the main control panel, I can turn the 12 volt on by firstly pressing this button, followed by this button. Once we've done this, we can turn the water pump on and off just here. We need the water pump on so we can get water out of the taps, flush the toilet and fill the boiler if it's been drained down. Next, we then have awning light on and off, and then buttons along the bottom mainly give us information. So this first one here will give us an indication of the condition of the leisure battery. And then next we have condition of the vehicle battery, how much water is in the fresh tank, when the waste tank needs emptying, a red light will begin to flash next to the waste tank symbol just here. When the fresh water drops to the last amber segment just here, this amber light will begin to flash every now and then to let you know you're getting low on fresh water, and if either of the batteries were low, again you would get flashing indicators. This last button just here controls the illumination of this control panel. And we get a light just here indicating that we're currently connected to mains electricity. And when we start the engine of the motorhome, a light will appear just here to let you know that the alternator is charging both the leisure battery and vehicle battery. This can only be viewed if these two buttons are turned on. If we then drop just below, we have the control panel for the Truma heating and hot water. At the moment you'll see it's just displaying the time, and again letting us know that we're connected to mains electricity with the picture of the 2-pin plug. If I now press the button, we will be presented with a series of icons, and as I rotate you will see that they begin to flash. So if we start with the first icon, this one here is for the heating. So if I now press the button, you'll see that the heating is currently off. All we now do is just rotate and pick whatever temperature we would like it inside the motorhome, right the way up to 30 degrees. So once you've decided, just press the button to store it in, and you'll now see a little flames appeared above. That flame there just represents the heating system, and it's just letting you know you've set a parameter. Whenever the heating is in operation, the flame will begin to flash, and it will continue to flash until it's achieved the temperature you have asked. If I now press again and rotate across to the next icon, this one here is for your hot water. And again, if I now click, hot water is off. And if I rotate, we can heat hot water in eco mode, which will give us a temperature of about 40 degrees. And if I rotate again, we can heat hot water in hot mode, which will give us a temperature of about 60 degrees. And if I rotate again, we can also perform a boost on the boiler. The boost was mainly designed for if there's going to be more than one of you having a shower in quick succession of each other, or if you just want hot water quickly. If you do perform the boost and the heating's running, the heating will turn off because it needs to use the extra power. And again, the icon will continue to flash until it's achieved the temperature you have asked. Next we have power source. So at the moment, to do heating and hot water, I am using mains electricity using 2 kilowatts, indicated by the 2 lightning strikes just up here. If I rotate the button, I can lower the power consumption to 1 kilowatt. Very handy if we're on a low amp site. If we have both power sources available, we can run in dual fuel, so we can run on a mixture of gas and mains at 2 kilowatts, or a mixture of gas and mains at 1 kilowatt. These two settings are very handy, especially in the winter months. This way you'll be able to get up to temperature nice and quickly, and it will only consume gas as it's required. And then lastly, if we do not have main supply connected, we can solely run on gas. Next we have the circulation fan for the heating system. So if I now click on that, you'll see we can either run the fan in eco or high. And if I now turn off both hot water and heating and now return to it, we can also use this fan to vent the motorhome on a warm day. Just click on it and it has a fan speed of 1 to 10. If I now drop to the lower icons, this first one here is for a basic timer. So if I now click on it, you'll see we can set a start time and then an end time. And then once we've done that, we just select what we would like on between that period. Lastly, timer on or off. If I now activate the timer icon will come up there, and now within that time period those settings would apply. If I now return to it, I can now turn it back off, and when I go back in I can re-alter it again. Next we have clock set, and then lastly we have the settings menu, and within this we have offset, which is just for the thermostat just there. If you don't think it's quite correct, you can just slightly adjust it. Next we have temperature, just if you prefer it displayed in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Brightness of the screen, 12 or 24 hour clock. Language, index, more for the technicians in the workshop, it just lets them know what software it's currently running. And then lastly, full factory reset. From time to time, these control panels will throw up error codes, and they will usually be relatively basic. So if you're trying to run something on main supply and you're not connected, or you've tripped, etc., it will let you know on the control panel. The same if you're trying to run on gas, the gas bottle's not turned on or gas is depleted. An error code will appear where my finger is here, and it will be a warning triangle. If you click on it, it will then display a series of numbers and letters, and then if you look in the manual or if you Google it, it will then tell you what the problem is. 9 times out of 10, if it is basic and it can be sorted out, as soon as you do this, the error code will just disappear. If it doesn't, just go back to the warning triangle and double click on it, and then it will then say no error and disappear. If this still doesn't work, if you still have anything actually operating at the top here, just turn them all off, because it can reassess a lot faster when it's not trying to do lots of things at once. If after you've done this you still have an error code, I then always suggest the good old-fashioned turn it off and turn it back on again, and the way we do that is just by holding the button down until it says off. If when you turn it back on again you still have an error code, I always then say just do the factory reset, because sometimes that's all these control panels require. This particular Truma system can also be controlled via the Truma app. If you are going to use this, firstly download the Truma app onto your device. Once you've done this, make sure the Bluetooth is turned on, and then launch the app. Once you've launched it, it will firstly ask you to come to the iNet box, which in this model is just located above the extractor fan. You can see it just here. It will ask you to push the Bluetooth button, which is just located at the top here, and it will begin to send the Bluetooth signal out. You will then be able to connect up to the app. Once this is done, you will be able to control your heating and your hot water locally via Bluetooth through the app. What you can also do is, where my finger is, just here, is pop a pay-as-you-go SIM card in, register this through the app, and then you can control your heating and your hot water from much further afield. Whilst we're in here, just above it is the solar panel regulator. Do not need to do anything with this, it will just smart charge the batteries as it's required. You'll see at the moment that it's just letting you know the solar panel is working and that it's currently in float mode, so neither batteries really require a charge. Whenever it is popping a charge in, this green one will go out and an amber one will appear up here, and if there's a problem with the solar panel, a red light will appear just here where it says alarm. If I now move to the front and I just come to the travel seats just here and remove the cushions, and I now just slide this section out here and then lift both sections up, you'll see that we have trip switches etc. in here, and then we have the Truma boiler just here. So to drain the boiler down for winterization, it's all just done on the drain valve just here. These particular drain valves are automatic, so if the internal temperature of the motorhome drops below 3-4 degrees, this valve will automatically open and drop all the water out of the boiler to frost protect itself. If you are going to manually drain it down, firstly make sure the water pump is turned off, and then what we do is we twist this blue diamond here, and then a blue button will pop out at the base of the unit. To re-close the boiler back up again, to refill, twist and push the blue button back in to reset it, then fill up the fresh water tank, turn on the water pump, and it will then begin to reprime itself. If you are fully winterizing the motorhome, I always suggest that when draining down that you also open up all the taps inside the motorhome to release any airlocks in the system, because this will help in aiding the van to drain down. So when it comes to filling it back up again, once the water pump's been running for a few minutes, begin opening the taps up. They'll cough and splutter as they force the air out. Once they're running freely on both hot and cold, reclose, and then the system will fully reprime itself. If this drain valve auto drains, all that will happen is the blue button will just pop out at the bottom, and all you need to do to reset it is push it back in. If it will not stay in, it's just too cold in the motorhome, and you will then need to turn the heating on to generate some heat to reset it. The only time you're touching the blue diamond is when you are manually draining the boiler down. Also in here, just tucked at the back, is the battery charger. We then have the main strip switches just here. So we have the individual MCBs, the main RCD and the test button just here. So if anything's not working on main supply, just check to see if you've tripped. And then we have the 12 volt fuses just here. So if anything's not working on 12 volt, just check to see if you've blown a fuse. Tucked behind the travel seats, you will find a switch. This switch here just controls the heater that is located inside the waste water tank. So if you are using the motorhome in cold climate, you can pop this on to avoid any frost damage occurring to the tank. The fresh water tank does not have a heater in, as it is an internal tank, and it's just located underneath the cushions just here. So if I now just remove them, so the water pump is just located here, and then we can gain access to the fresh water tank just here for additional cleaning. On this window just here, you will find a pressure switch. This pressure switch controls the Truma boiler. So if you are using either heating or hot water on gas and you open this window, the pressure switch will release and cut the heating or hot water out, because the flue for the boiler sits underneath this window, so it's basically preventing carbon monoxide poisoning. Television bracket just here, just pull this section towards you and then slide out. Attach your TV to this section just here, and then it all just plugs in up here. Wardrobe just here, and if you do forget how to either make the extended dining or the beds up, it is all just here. The digital amplifier for the television aerial is just located above the microwave, and it's just up there, and you can see the dial on the front of it to control the level of boost. Microwave just here, always advisable to remove contents for travel. Will work when hooked up to mains electricity. Power level just there, and then on and off and timer just there. Beneath that is the Thetford fridge freezer. On and off just on the button here. And this is an automatic model, so as long as it is on A for auto, it will find the best power source it can for you. So because we're currently hooked up to mains electricity, it's put us onto mains with a little picture of the 2-pin plug. If I was now to run outside and pull the mains lead out, it would then automatically attempt to fire itself up onto gas, and then as soon as we start the engine of the motorhome, it will then automatically go over to 12 volt maintain to keep itself cold whilst on the move. As you can see, the screen will disappear after a few seconds. Just press the on off button to bring it back up again. If I press just here, I can take it out of auto and I can manually put it onto mains. I can manually put it onto 12 volt maintain. We're going to get an error code at the moment because the engine's not running. And I can manually put it onto gas. But it's definitely the easiest to have it on auto. Temperature control just here. And then this button here just controls the anti-condensation jacket. So the anti-condensation jacket needs to be on if you are using the motorhome in the warmer months of the year. This stops any build-up of condensation behind the unit, which would then run down the back and form a puddle beneath it. In the cooler months, it does not need to be on. And then we have the freezer compartment at the top, and then the fridge beneath. Above my head we have the Omnivent fan. To raise the roof vent, just wind, and then we have the power in the center, and then we have arrows out for extraction and arrows in for cooling. Variable fan speed just by pressing. Do make sure that all roof vents are closed for travel. Cutlery drawer just here, but tucked just above it are the gas isolation taps for the motorhome. So we have the cooker just here, barbecue point, heating and hot water, and the fridge all in the on position, and I always say they can stay like that. If you do smell gas in the motorhome, go to the source and turn the gas bottle off. Extractor fan just here, light, and then extractor on and off. Beneath that we have the hob. So we have the electric hot plate just here, operates just here. Red light comes on to let you know it's on operation, and again, like the microwave, will only work when connected to mains electricity. We then have the 2 gas rings, and it's just push in, twist and press the igniter. Oven and grill beneath. Push in and twist to the left for the oven. And then to the right for the grill. Washroom at the back. So we have the shower cubicle that just comes round. Do make sure that it is fully secured for travel. We then have the basin just there, and this will pull out to become the shower head, and all you do is then just press on the top here to turn it into shower mode. Fit for toilet just here. So the bowl does swivel. Open to the cassette on the grey lever just here, and then push to flush just here. Level indicator just here, so this will fully rotate round to red when the cassette needs emptying. And then close the cassette just here. If this is left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you do feel resistance, just make sure that nobody's left it open. Light switch just here. We then have the rear bunk beds. So ladder just on there. We have the top bunk, and then the bottom bunk that can be removed to make a larger garage space at the back. To make the extended dining, you need to slide out this section just here and these parts just here, and then pop on the cushions like so. And then if we now pull that section out, and again we then just pop on the extender cushion just there, and then we can also fold the table out just by pulling down just here. To make the 2 lower beds, we need to take the table off the wall just by lifting up and unhooking it, and then by taking out this part of the table leg and then resting the table on these sections. And then once the table is in position, just add the infills, and then for extra length you can remove the backrest cushions if required. To make the single bed just here, again we have this infill, and again we need to just drop the table, and we then bend the leg just by pushing the button in just here. And then again removing the back cushions to give extra length to the bed. when having both beds, you do not necessarily need to have this section here made if you are using the top bed, because that way you can then use the ladder. With this top bed, you do have this section underneath the mattress that just folds up like so to stop people falling out. And then this section here can then flap up out of the way when the bed is not in use.